Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're looking at a 70s series Land Cruiser Prado. This one here from 1993 has 180-ish thousand kilometers, 182,000. Comes with a 3-liter turbo diesel engine, obviously 4-wheel drive. The Prado is a lighter duty version of the Land Cruiser and is probably more popular in terms of sales than the actual Land Cruiser, probably maybe from the 90 series onwards. And nowadays you see more Prados than you do Land Cruisers on the road. They are cool vehicles. This is kind of where they started. The Prado first generation was the 70 series. Okay, we'll take a look at the condition of the car. We'll compare it to the auction inspection sheet. This one was bought from auction here in Japan, and it's going to be exported over to the USA. Let's lower this. Not effectively. Okay. Now normally we would have the engine running, but the transport guy came to pick up that Stagea over there and a Pajero Mini. So I just turned the engine off while I was signing papers and stuff. Let's just start this up so that you can see. So as you can see, the engine is nice and well, 182, 913 kilometers on there. This one is an automatic transmission. You can get them in manual if you want, but the automatics are going to be a bit cheaper and easier to find as well. The overall condition of this one is pretty good. Keep in mind it's 1993, that makes it a 29-year-old vehicle, but for being something that is this old, it does look fantastic for its age. So let's go over the auction inspection sheet first, and then we'll go around the car and look at the condition. So it's the 1993 Land Cruiser Prado EX Wide version, auction grade 3.5, it's 4-wheel drive, interior grade C, sunroof, power steering, power windows, 182, 836 kilometers. The timing belt was changed at 99,000 kilometers. It says right here, according to a sticker in the engine bay, the sticker does look like it is the authentic age, and there's no unknown mileage on this one. It's original paint, silver two-tone. The sales points here are purchased from user, diesel turbo car. Comes with a moon roof, electric moon roof, a grill guard on the front, rear spare tire on it, rear ladder. So the rear spare tire is normal location for the rear spare tire. The ladder is an aftermarket part, and then it is a 1KZ engine, known to be quite a nice diesel engine. I like them a lot. The report here says right rear power window doesn't work, and it's not just the switch. I tried with both the door switch here. Hold on a second, it is the left rear that doesn't work. They wrote right rear. I just noticed that. Oh no, never mind. It's me not knowing my Japanese. That is left rear power window doesn't work. Okay, and yes, it is not the switches. It actually is the regulator on it. Center console has screw holes. I'll show you in a sec. Interior wear, dirty, and cigarette burn. Oddly, the cigarette burn is on the rear seats. Not a place that you normally see the cigarette burns. Aftermarket wheels are scratched, over fenders scratched, dashboard has screw holes in it. They're actually kind of mild screw holes, if that makes sense. I'll show you in a sec. Underside surface rust, and the trunk has scratches and is dirty. They actually don't mention it, but the trunk has some battery acid burns on the carpet, so I'll show you that as well. Various scratches and dents. The body here has some A2 on the front bumper. It says paint peeling on the hood, but actually looks fine to me. The car is really dirty. Sometimes we get dusty, dirty cars, and so sorry about that. We have no washing facilities. Also, even if we did, it would be a lot of work to wash the cars before we shoot them too. So if you wanted that done, it would have to be an extra cost kind of thing. Anyway, roof has U2 on it and paint peeling. There's a very mild amount of paint peeling, like right here and maybe a little bit somewhere else, but I can't see. It does have some weird staining on it. See? It looks like blood. And it doesn't go away when I touch it. And then some dents on there. If you haven't seen them, it's because they don't stand out that much. Plus, it's tall. You don't really have to worry too much about dents on the roof. And then AU2 on the back. There's A2 here, A2 here. The body has some scratches. It's really not so bad. Okay, so now that that's done, let's do a once around of the car so you can see it from all different angles. This one here is on stock suspension. A lot of them here in Japan get a little bit of a lift, like a 2-inch with some reasonably sized tires. You can make these things huge and awesome, but you want to be able to drive it comfortably, and large tires can really take a lot of that away. If you guys remember, we used to have that thing lifted, and it was a chore to drive. It only had a 2-inch lift with, I don't know, maybe about 20% bigger tires. Yeah, it was bad on gas, accelerated slowly. I mean, it's not a 4x4, so kind of a silly car to put on a lift and big tires. But anyways, so this is a 3-row, whereas the regular version of the Land Cruiser of the 70 series was strictly 2-row. The only way that you could get a 3-row Land Cruiser was with the 80 series. And the 70 and the 80 series were both sold at the same time. The 70 series is the workhorse version, or the utilitarian version. And the 80 series was considered the comfort version. And so the Prado, I guess, is somewhere in between. It's more comfortable than your regular 70 series, just not as utilitarian. Okay, so looking at some of the details, this piece here spins. You can kind of like write something here, instead put like cover this and write something, and cover this. And then if you want to make a decision on something, like should we go to McDonald's or Sizzler for dinner, and then spin it, and then you can decide which way you're going to go for dinner. Probably just replace these screws and it should fix it, or just remove it completely. Okay, there's a place for fog lights there if you want fog lights to go in there. There is some fade on the top chrome lip here. A lot of people just black out the grill on these and it looks awesome. So you could try that, or you can just, I mean, you could restore that, but restoring a chrome is a little bit more difficult than just painting it. The corner markers are a little bit faded yellow, and there's this gasket that goes between the marker and the body, and it's all cracked. Okay, the front bumper has a scuff there. And some more here. Those are the A2 that were mentioned on the auction sheet. There's headlight cleaners, and then headlights. You know, for some places, because Japan's a right-hand drive country, and this is going to a left-hand drive country, these headlights are actually pointing in the opposite direction. The headlights have a natural cutoff where they'll go down this way and up this way, so that they illuminate a road sign on this side and that they don't blind people on this side. And that's the opposite in the States. But since they are these rectangular, easy to replace lights, you don't really have to worry too much. It's very easy to get replacements. This one has an under guard. That is an official Toyota dealer option for these. Okay, going down here, this over fender has some scratches on it. And I moved the dust out of the way so that you can see it easier. So that kind of scratch are in a few places, or that kind of scratched area is in a few areas on the car, like here. Okay, you got some fade on the chrome mirrors. The stickers on the side that say Prado are cool, but they are faded as well. The actual paint and dent-wise, looking good. Nice clear paint. Looks good with a silver and gray two-tone. Okay, there's a couple of cracks here in the over fender gasket. Coming back here, I don't know what's going on with the mud flap, but it's got a whole bunch of little dots, but they're not in any sort of a pattern. It's almost like I don't know, the sun hit it really hard over 30 years and it just deformed into that shape. A Honda Zest. These are pretty faded. You could probably polish them up if you really felt like you needed to. You've got some damage on the sides here. Remember, it was an AU2 on the back. Oh, and this piece is separated a little bit. It should be tucked in really nicely, but it isn't anymore. It might have something to do with that being hit. You can see it's a little bit bent there. Okay, that one there is definitely a U2. And if any of this doesn't make sense to you, it's all on our website. And of course, we'll explain that to you before you buy the cars, or you'll have access to a reference sheet. The ladder on the back looks pretty nice. It has nice wide steps, making it easy to step on each step with 2 feet if you ever need to, which is nice. Some of them are narrower and it's harder to get large feet into them. Oh, here's the paint fade. Okay. So there is some on the back. I didn't notice that because I only looked at it from the front. So let's go back down now. You have a loop for doing your looping things. Okay, that's what the original wheels look like. But now they're converted over to these ones, which aren't in the best shape. They are a nice looking wheel with a deeper dish, which is great. But they got corrosion squigglies, like typical 15 to 20-year-old wheels will often get. Okay, this is all rust free and looking good. It's actually fantastic for the age. Okay, and then going down this side, we actually have a few dents. Now, I got another video pointing out specifically where the dents are. Like, for example, here's one. I know I missed one already because I couldn't actually see it there. And there's a series of like 3 of them all together here. This is about as bad as the body gets on it. So I think you're in for a treat for this one. Seems to be in pretty good shape body-wise. A couple of scratches there in the over fender. Okay, it comes with the power locking hubs, so you can switch your 4-wheel drive more easily in this. You can get this with the 2.4 liter engine, and those ones have manual locking hubs, but this one you just push both of these. Now you're in 4-wheel drive. You don't have, get that key out of there. What you don't have is selectable high gear ratio and low gear ratio, which I believe the earlier ones do, and the regular version of the Land Cruiser does as well. And I think you get a more modern dashboard in this one, whereas the earlier one is more square. So some wear on the steering wheel, sun damage on the outside there. It is a fairly large steering wheel as well. Nice little tachometer. It's kind of cute. Cute little tachometer. And yeah, no turbo button like the full-size Land Cruisers have. Stock CD player, tape deck. Okay, this is a little bit discolored. Sport or normal suspension. That's kind of cool. I think that that's basically just their Thames system, which came in the late 80s and on. A CD changer controller, and then there's a multi-disc unit in the back. The console screw holes are right here. Okay, and the dashboard screw holes are all hiding. So they're all behind this bar. Surprise! So something used to be mounted there. Now there is no bad smell inside. These have a look like they've been cleaned before, like with an extractor, which you probably don't want to use an extractor in this, to be honest, because of the chance of pilling. Come to take a look at it. Headliner is the same way. Although this one hasn't been cleaned, I wouldn't use an extractor on a headliner like this. Too delicate. And then the seat, here's something kind of interesting. These seats are suspension seats. See the spring in there? So you sit in it and the whole seat, like a bus. Really cool. You can even set your weight in kilograms. Now I set it to my weight there, but it was at 90 kilograms. 90 kilograms is a lot of weight for a Japanese person. Barely any people weigh that much here. And I think because of that, you get pilled seat. The guy was heavy and sliding around on there and pilling it. Okay, and then I just noticed these because I didn't notice them before. There is a series of 3 or kind of 2.5 cigarette burns there. Otherwise, not bad looking seats. They have semi-high bolsters. They're kind of similar to the type of seats you would get in like a Mark II, Mark III Supra. In my opinion, the Mark IV Supra has the Supra's my least favorite seats of all Supras. Okay, looking nice and clean in the back here. These seats can fold forward if you want. They actually double flip. So this flips completely flat and then the whole thing rolls over again. Not the easiest to get into the third row, but the third row is kind of an auxiliary seat. So you can flip this down, and it's hard to do with 2 hands, or with only 1 hand, so I don't think I can do it. But pull that, and yeah, your whole thing flips. You can take off the headrest to make it flip the whole way, or you can not have your seat in the full back position. But as it is right now, it might be a little bit tricky. Not too bad. And then get into the back. Now these back seats are really close to the ground, as you can see, meaning that if you sit in them, you're going to have knees around your ears, like that. And imagine this seat is here too. Not a ton of space in the back. But they are seats probably for kids. If you need to use them, they're there. And let's put that back into position. Now when you Put it back in position. It's not going to remember the amount of incline, so you have to adjust it manually. Okay, let's go into the trunk. I love the double doors on the back. It is very cool. One thing to keep in mind with double doors, you're limited to the amount of tire size that you can put onto the back. And so you need to be able to open this door first. And any tire that doesn't allow for that can't be put onto the back. So think about that before you upsize the tires. You might have to build some sort of a bracket that brings the tire out a little bit more to the side. Once you have that open, you can put your groceries here. You don't have to open the second door, but you can if you want. And then the second door is the bigger of the two doors. Okay, these seats can be flipped up to the side. The way it works is these flip down and then the whole seat comes up to the side here. You see a lot of people in Japan taking this third row of seats out if they don't use it, because even when flipped to the side, it's still taking up some of your cargo room. Here's the carpet that's been burnt with battery acid. Typically, you'll see this in the center if someone was storing a battery in the back or transporting it and it leaked. And then it just kind of spreads until it eats all the carpet fabric in the carpet. And then CD player. And I don't know if you got any free CDs in there. You might. Sometimes you do. Okay, close the doors. No sign of any rust in here. Sometimes this thing can rust and then leave water underneath and the rust can bubble out. It's not doing that there. It is good. A good solid Prado that's ready for many, many more years of driving around. Keep it in good shape and it will take care of you. That's going to be the end of the report. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.